Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seen Beyond and Through with Monty. We're going to explore a topic that many women who do not want to date black men are bringing up. And this particular topic is false, it's misleading, it's a lie, and it's a myth. But this particular topic was brought up here recently by two YouTubers involving the death of Lauren Field Smith, the Bridgeport, Connecticut woman who was possibly slain by an older white male who she met on the dating site Bumble. But what we're going to do here is that I want you to hear what these YouTubers have stated about a statistic involving black men and the homicidal rate of black women. Take a listen.
Black women and young girls suffer a very high rate of domestic violence, sexual abuse, trauma, and the list goes on and on. We all know every 5 hours a black man kills a black woman, and these niggas are silent on that. And then when you mention that, they'll throw up this story here, or this Chad Wheeler, or something else, because black males don't care.
Or if the perpetrator was white, they'll say, oh, well, if she were with a black man, this would have never happened. Despite black men killing black women every 6 hours and black women having the highest rates of domestic violence and femicide by black men. It's like they're counting on black women to just listen to what they say, blindly listen to them and follow them.
Okay, so you heard what the claim in which was made. And that claim is that every 5 to 6 hours, a black male kills a black woman. And black women have the highest rate of domestic violence, sexual assault, abuse at the hands of black men. The problem with that, and there is a problem with that, is that you must keep it into the proper numerical context. But before I get into that, I want you to take a look at a draft that I did when I first started my YouTube channel here. I did this draft about 2 years ago, and it involves the sexual assault abuse of victims based upon race. And the FBI stats tell a completely different story than what these women are claiming. Now keep in mind this was 2018, these stats are from. However, they do these every couple of years. And I've noticed that on the recent ones, they have actually taken the rape, the sexual assault, and things like that out of it, strangely enough. But I want you to take a look at this particular graph that I did, and it actually aged very well. I had no idea that I would use it again 2 years later, but I want you to have a look at it, and you would clearly see that the FBI stats are contradicting what these women are claiming. Okay, to divulge deeper into the stats as they relate to race, I want you to pay attention because the first one you're going to see is total. That's the first one. The second one is going to be white. The third one is going to be black or African American. Now, as we go down there to rape, remember the first one is total. So basically what they're saying at the very top right there, it was 7 million, then white, it was 5 million, then at black or African American, 2 million. But let's go down here to rape right there. Skip the total right there. We're not going to be concerned with that because what they claim is that somehow blacks are committing these rapes in outrageous numbers. And I'm going to show you that that is not correct, that is an actual lie. Now, rape right there, we see rape there. We go rape for whites is 12,794. For black or African American is 5,376. Okay, how are they committing it in these large numbers? How are black girls having the number one reported cases of rape or molestations? How? when this chart right here by the FBI doesn't even bear this out? Now, let's go down. We're going to go down to what I'm looking for is prostitution. No, not that one right there. Here we go right here. Sex offenses except rape and prostitution. Remember, the first one is total. The second one is going to be white, which is at 25,338. Black or African American is the third one at 8,403. Sex offenses, except rape and prostitution, would constitute child pornography, victim of child crimes like online things like that, sexual rings and stuff like that we know the majority of them are not black. You got to be foolish if you believe that in a society where like 65% of the population is white and 12% is black, that blacks are the most at committing such atrocious acts. That is just not true right there. So, sex offenses, except rape and prostitution, for whites is 25,000. For blacks is 8,000. Let's go back up here again for those who are hard-headed. For rape, for whites, it is 12,794. For blacks, it is 5,376. So why do we have people who are going online with the false claim that black girls and women are more likely to be raped, are more likely to be molested, are the number one victims of rape and molestation? Why are people making these false claims? You guys need to cut it out. Seriously. Because, like I said before, it does not look good for black men, and it does not look good for black women. Considering that if that were to be true, black women are the ones who are raising these black men. So what is being said has absolutely no verifiable facts to back it up. So these stats say a completely different story. And if you look at the graph right here, which was in the graph that I posted, the moving one, it clearly tells you that of white victims, it is 12,794. Compared to black, it was 5,376. So I'll talk about numerical context in which you must keep this in. Keep one thing in mind. 85% of black men are married to black women or have a black wife. 93% of black women have a black husband. So I'm saying that to say this. The vast majority of black men in and out of marriage are dealing with black women. The vast majority of black men are dating, marrying, reproducing with black women. The vast majority of black people in America live among each other. 6 in 10 black people live in only 10 states. 54% of black people in America live in the South. So therefore, let's go with the 10 states. 6 in 10 black people in America live in 10 states. That's Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, Louisiana, Virginia, South Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi. So that means that the vast majority of black people are living among black people. The vast majority of black people are interacting among black people. The vast majority of crime in America is intraracial. No, I did not say interracial. I said intraracial. So therefore, the numerical context is that, yes, the vast majority of black women are going to be murdered by black men because that's who they're dealing with. Just like the vast majority of white women are going to be murdered by white men. The vast majority of white women are going to be raped and sexually assaulted by white men. They have a higher number of those rapes and sexual assaults among white people. So therefore, they are twisting things, numbers, out of context when they make claims that 5 every 5 to 6 hours, a black man murders a black woman. Well, every 5 to 6 hours, don't a white man murder a white woman? It's the same thing, though. So somehow they're trying to get there and say that somehow black women are more safer with white men. And that's not necessarily the case, because white people interracially marry and date out only at a 7% rate. And the vast majority of those, racially speaking, are with Asian women. Now, they do have a 49% of marrying with Hispanics, but we know that someone like a Jennifer Lopez or Sofia Vergara, if they took a DNA test, they're going to be majority Spanish. And we know that Hispanic or Latino is not a race. So the vast majority of that is going to be white on white. So ethnically speaking, or rather, racially speaking, the vast majority of white men are married to Asian women. Only 7% of white men have a black spouse. So therefore, black men, listen to me carefully, black men are interacting with black women at nearly 10 times the rate that white men are. So of course, the interactions, when they turn violent, are going to be at the hands of black men. So it is not that black women are like safer with white men, or somehow white men are less violent prone or less violent. That's not the case at all. 400 years of slavery or American history should teach you that. I mean, what did they do with the children of black women? What did they do with black women? How many years were you raped? How many years were you lynched and hanged? Were you burned? Were you separated from your family, your children sold? So no, it's not that they're any more less violent prone or nicer to you. It's just that the interaction level is significantly less. And that's what these fools are not taking into consideration. They want to spread this jargon that somehow you're safer or you're better off with by any means necessary, even if it means twisting numbers and lying about stats and things like that, and not putting things into the proper numerical context. I mean, my thing is, date who you want to date. If you want to be with a white man, fine. Asian man, fine. But don't sit up there and twist numbers around and lie to kind of justify your choice, or lie because you have a dislike for black men. That's the problem which I have with that. So basically, all this 5-6 times ratio, that's true and not true, but you have to put it into the proper context. So numerical context is extremely important when you're talking about issues like that. Because if you don't, you end up making yourself look foolish, like they did. Now, I'm all for the protection of black women. I have no problem with that. As like most men black men do not have a problem with that. But I do think that most black men have a problem with them lying and twisting numbers to fit their twisted agenda. So that was the reason for me making this particular video today. So hopefully that can add some insight and bring a proper perspective into this particular topic. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Sin Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.